How to install the Addison pull-down kitchen faucet with Touch2O technology. The goal of this video is to walk you through installing your kitchen pull-down faucet with an integrated handle featuring Touch2O technology. We will be using the faucet design shown here, although your faucet may look different since designs and finishes will vary. As with any faucet installation, check to make sure everything is in the box using the Quick Start Guide and the Maintenance and Installation Guide for reference. Before you begin, you'll want to assemble the tools you'll need for the job, like 2 adjustable wrenches, safety goggles, and you may want to have a flashlight handy to help you see under the sink. You may also need silicone if the surface of your counter or sink is uneven. The first step is installing the faucet body. The instructions for this step vary depending upon whether you have a top mount or under mount sink. A top mount sink has a rim around the sink and has been set in on top of the counter. The mounting for an under mount sink is not visible from above the counter and does not have a rim around the sink. This video will walk you through an under mount installation. For top mount installation instructions, refer to the Quick Start Guide or the Maintenance and Installation Guide. Now let's get started. For this step, you'll need both packets marked with the number 1. The faucet body, isolation plate, gasket, escutcheon undercover plate, and the escutcheon from the box. You will only need the escutcheon gasket, undercover plate, and escutcheon if you're using the escutcheon to cover additional holes in your sink. For the purposes of this video, we will demonstrate a single-hole installation. You may have a single-hole isolation plate instead of the 3-hole plate shown here. Instructions on how to mount that bracket will be shown at the appropriate point in the video. Open packet 1 and snap the metal bracket and spout insulating element together. Then insert the clip. Set this aside for the moment. For single-hole installations, you will need to apply the gasket to the round black LED base. Peel the white backing off of the gasket and insert the sticky side into the groove on the black LED base. Press down on the gasket so that it seats or fits snugly all the way around. For 3-hole installations, you will need the escutcheon undercover plate and the escutcheon gasket. You will not use the round gasket for the black LED base. Peel the white backing off of the escutcheon gasket and insert the sticky side into the groove on the escutcheon undercover plate. Press down on the gasket so that it seats or fits snugly all the way around. Pull and extend the LED wire from the black LED base. Then feed the PEX supply lines through the base. You'll want to mount the black LED base so that the LED light is facing forward on the faucet body. If you're using the escutcheon plate, first slide the black LED base over the supply lines, making sure that the LED is facing forward. Place the assembled undercover plate under the escutcheon and slide both over the supply lines into place under the base. To mount the faucet body to the sink, feed the supply lines through the hole in the sink. Place the faucet body on the sink, making sure that the LED light is facing forward. If you're using the escutcheon plate, ensure that everything is in the proper position after you place the faucet body onto the sink. If the surface of the sink is rough or uneven, use a little silicone on the gasket to help seal gaps. Once you've set the faucet body in place, it's time to mount it securely. Under the sink, place the spout insulator over the faucet shank, making sure the lettering on the insulator is pressing against the sink or deck, and that the lip of the insulator is properly seated in the mounting hole. The insulator keeps the spout shank from contacting the metal sink, which could cause your faucet to activate erratically. Secure the faucet body in place with the black isolation plate, followed by the combined metal bracket insulating element and the nut. Make certain the LED wire is not crimped between the isolation plate and the mounting bracket. Hand tighten the nut until snug. Make sure the holes of the bracket remain aligned with the holes in the sink as you're tightening. Look above the sink to ensure that the faucet body and the LED light on the base are facing forward on the sink. Then use the tool provided to tighten the nut securely to the sink. Next, we'll install the electronics. For the first part of this step, you will need packet number 2 from the box, as well as the solenoid valve. You'll use the other part shown for step 2B. Insert the black hose adapter into the top of the solenoid valve, then secure in place with the metal clip. It is very important to install the metal clip correctly. Do not install the clip upside down, and make certain that the clip slides into the grooves on the black hose adapter. Under the sink, insert the outlet tube into the top of the solenoid valve, making sure it fits snugly. Then flip up the clip of the hose adapter to secure it in place. The second part of step 2 is installing the spout, hose, and spray wand. For this step, you'll need the hose, spray wand, spout, hose weight, and hose guide. You will also need the remaining parts from packet 2. First, screw the threaded fitting of the hose into the spray wand to prevent the hose from being pulled all the way into the spout. Then insert the plastic hose guide into the end of the hose. Feed the hose through the spout until the spray wand docks into place. Now feed the hose down through the faucet body and slide the spout onto the faucet body until it's securely in place. Even though the hose guide helps to keep the hose from getting hung up inside the spout, it still may take you a few tries to feed the hose through. Do not try to pass the hose through the shank first, as the hose can become stuck and damage the faucet. Under the sink, slide the hose weight onto the hose. Remove the hose guide and push the hose end onto the solenoid assembly outlet. Attach the plastic clip to cover the connection, securing the hose to the solenoid. Pull down to make sure the connection is secure. The next step is to make the wiring connections. For this step, you'll need the battery box and batteries. To begin, make sure you have dissipated any static charge by touching the cold stop or another ground. Take the LED wire and pull it through the clip on the mounting bracket, keeping the wire points away from the valve. Now attach the wire with the C-clip to the mounting nut. The wire should point away from the valve. Remove the protective plastic cap from the LED wire that is hanging from the shank. Plug the LED wire into the solenoid assembly. It's important to keep the wires from twisting together or from being too close to one another. All electrical connections must be made before the batteries are loaded. With batteries in place within the box, connect the wire from the solenoid to the top of the battery box. Place the battery pack flat on the cabinet floor, at least 2 inches from the cabinet walls and other objects. If your battery pack doesn't reach the floor, you can set it on a non-metallic object, at least 2 inches from the cabinet wall. The next step is to connect the water lines. For this step, you will need packet 4 from the box and 2 adjustable wrenches. Remove the check valves and ferrules from the bag and install these onto the supply stops. If ferrules and nuts are already present on the stops, remove them and use the ones provided with the faucet. The check valves and ferrules that ship with your faucet are essential for the faucet to operate properly. Then, starting with the hot water, insert the ferrule into the hot water stop. Screw on the check valve by hand tightening. Then take the adjustable wrench and make one full turn to finish tightening the check valves into place. It is important to make sure the connection is tight, but do not over-tighten the check valves. Now do the same for the cold water stop. Look at the ends of the hot and cold water lines and check to make sure all fittings and end connections are free of debris. Attach the cold water line, blue, to the cold check valve using the metal nut. Hand tighten the nut to a snug position. Then give it another full turn with a wrench. You'll want to hold the nut in place on the check valve while you are tightening the nut from the supply line. When installing the water lines, you may need to loop any extra length as shown. Delta Faucet Company strongly recommends against cutting the supply lines, as doing so introduces a potential leak point. If your project requires cut lines, see the Maintenance and Installation Guide for custom fit connection instructions. Attach the hot water lines, red, to the hot check valve. Again, hand tighten the nut to a snug position. Then give it another full turn with a wrench. Do not use pipe dope or other sealants on waterline connections. The last step in installation is to flush the lines. It's time to turn the water on. Make sure the spout is over the sink before turning on the hot and cold water stops, and make sure that the handle is in the off position. Turn on both hot and cold water supplies. Then pull the sprayer away from the spout and unscrew the spray head. Pull the end of the hose down into the sink and put the handle in the full on mixed position. Then flush water lines for about 1 minute. This will drain the spout hose to flush away any debris. Turn off the water. Replace the spray head by hand tightening it onto the end of the hose until it fits snugly. Turn on the water to make sure the connection is tight and that no water is coming out of the connection of the sprayer to the hose. Redock the sprayer and turn off the water. Now check under the sink to make sure there's nothing that will interfere with the electrical connections or with the motion of the hose when the sprayer is pulled out of the spout. Then check the connections to the solenoid and the connections at the stops for any leaks. Retighten if necessary, but don't over-tighten. Once the faucet is installed, it's time to test it. Use the handle to turn the faucet on and off, then leave it in the on position. Tap the spout to turn it off and on electronically. You will need to use a deliberate touch like playing a piano. Touching too fast or too slow will not produce the desired results. Grasp and rotate the spout. Touch2O technology is smart enough to know the difference between a grasp and a touch, and will not change the function of the water when you grasp the spout to move it. Test the spray and stream modes of the sprayer as well. With proper installation, your pull-down kitchen faucet with Touch2O technology will bring years of stylish, efficient, trouble-free water delivery. If you experience any difficulty, please call 1-800-345-DELTA for assistance. or visit deltafaucet.com/touch for more information on your faucet. Delta Touch2O technology. Another way Delta is more than just a faucet. See what Delta can do.